Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And regarding the coronavirus, there are several theories kind of circulating the world at the moment, including the suggestion that this viral laboratory in Wuhan is the source of the virus that is now just spreading all over the world. And I'm steering away from that subject for one simple reason, because it's a conspiracy. It might be true, but until someone can actually produce the facts that it is true, I think for any government to be involved in something like that is beyond any, it is absolutely appalling if any government has been involved in doing something like this. Now, getting to the bigger picture, the coronavirus can and apparently is mutating. There are suggestions that the people who strangely got this coronavirus in Iran, and nobody really understands how or where or why, apparently it's a different strain of the same coronavirus, more like the old SARS, which is far more deadly. There are all sorts of things happening here, guys, which make no sense at all. It's almost biblical, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going to read to you some information that Marlena has sent me. And Marlena, it is just so wonderful to have you back on board on this channel. Marlena was unable to access the internet for weeks because of, you know what I'm talking about, incompetence in South Africa. Her internet connection was cactus, but she's back. Very happy to have you back, Marlena. Okay, this is from a person called Kevin, who's a retired special forces living in China. And he says, a big impact coming on medical supplies, vitamins and drugs. Stock up now. This is his email. Hi all, so the coronavirus has shut down all of East and Central China and is now moving across other countries in Asia. This is going to have deep and almost immediate effects on goods and products that are for sale in the US and on everything from auto parts to zippers. Of greatest concern for now is what it will do to supplies of medical equipment and drugs. Everything from band-aids and cotton swabs and vitamins and prescription drugs of all kind. Also protective gear like face masks and hazmat suits. I strongly advise that you prepare your families accordingly and consider begin stocking up on some of these items that will be in very, very high demand very soon. China makes up 90% of the drug ingredients and about 80% of the medical supplies used in the US. And right now, nobody in China is making them at all. Now, I have to tell you that here in Australia, okay, now we've only had about like 15 cases of coronavirus here. But if you go to the local Aldi or the local Coles or the local Woolworths or Woolies supermarket, big supermarkets, and ask them if they've got hand sanitizers, gloves, those very tight-fitting little white gloves, face masks, and this also includes all the pharmacies around Australia. If you ask them if they've got any of those things, they say, no, sold out. Sold out. The horse is bolted in Australia. I'm actually going in to a major shopping centre later this morning where I'm going to be meeting one of our subscribers, Andrew, and we're going to be having a chat about a number of things, which is going to be very interesting. But while I'm there, I'm going to just ask the question again. And I can guarantee you they're going to say, nah, we're sold out. So there's a huge run on protective gear here in Australia. And we are way, 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 way away from the epicenter. So if you're in South Africa, please, guys, think about prepping on these things if you're able to get them. Okay, let's continue with the email. The fellow says, martial law has been declared in 8 provinces with a total population of 500 million people. 500 million people is bigger than the United States of America, or the population of the United States of America. It's a huge percentage of the population of Europe. This population in China is under martial law today. Quarantined. It's just extraordinary. Martial law has been declared in 8 provinces in China with a total population of 500 million people, and the rest of us outside these zones have had our movements prescribed to going out to get groceries once every 2 days. Army and police in the eastern provinces, where most of the industry is, are arresting people who are outside their homes, though even that isn't as effective as before, because now so many military and police units are infected and unable to function. So even the military are now infected by the coronavirus. There are very few flights available in. The roads and ports are closed. Railroads are shut down. Even if a factory owner can get permission to open, his workers aren't allowed to move. And he can't ship product out. This will go on for an indeterminate period. We're talking about a total shutdown of trade from China. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, but believe me, you look at the stuff that you've bought over the last month, where it's made, and you'll probably find 99% of that stuff is made in China. Think about that. The markets in China are closing down. It is quite extraordinary. For the kinds of drugs and supplies I've mentioned above, the export market will not be getting any new production for many weeks, and we don't know how long that's going to extend, depending on what happens with the virus. These supplies and medicines are in critical and desperate supply here, and the Chinese government has ordered local governments to procure whatever is necessary from factories and shops. The true numbers of the infected and dead are many orders of magnitude higher than the official accounts, which nobody really believes anymore. Now, what I'm hearing, and again, this is just unsubstantiated, but it makes perfect sense. What I'm hearing is that in North Korea, now remember, South Korea's got hundreds of cases of coronavirus, and they've got a very sophisticated society and a public health system. What I'm hearing is that in North Korea, they are claiming they haven't got any coronavirus victims. But what I'm also hearing is that at night, there are these huge funeral pyres which are set up with thousands of bodies of North Koreans being burnt at night. And look, I can't verify what I'm being told, but it makes sense in a country which is like North Korea, where it ain't good. It's not a good place to be. Okay, let's get back to Kevin's email. He says, a quick note about care or aid packages. In the event you have churches or friends here in Asia who ask you to send them medical supplies, those packages will likely never arrive to where you had hoped. The customs officials have been ordered to seize any medical supplies for use in hospital. Even passengers arriving in airports are having their carry-on bags and stowed luggage searched for masks, respirators, rain gear, no kidding, anything that could be used by hospital staff to protect themselves from what they're dealing with, and it's been confiscated. So what this fellow is suggesting, and I have no reason to dispute what he's saying, is that if you're traveling into the Chinese area and you've got face masks and stuff like that, they're going to confiscate them. So you can't use them, but they're going to then be sent over to the doctors and the physicians who will then be working with people with the coronavirus. Quite extraordinary. With respect to the disease itself, I don't think this disease can be stopped any time short of supernatural means. Infections continue to soar, even under military-enforced quarantines that have been in place for almost a month. You have to see the army response here to believe it, and yet nothing has worked. You mercifully haven't had many cases there yet, but I fear that you're just 6 or 7 weeks behind where we are in China, and 4 to 5 weeks behind what's happening in Japan, which is now having huge outbreaks of the coronavirus. Only a miracle can stop it, and that's what we need to be praying for. If you're a man or woman of faith, get some more. If at some point you left it or lost it, go back to where you saw it last and pick it up again. Now that's from Kevin. And I just want to make a comment. I actually put a link to a very lengthy technical PDF looking at the coronavirus. And if you look at my earlier videos on the coronavirus, you'll actually see it there. It runs to a large number of pages, but it gives you a really good understanding about what this virus is all about. And the kicker, there are a few kickers here. Probably the biggest kicker is that someone is infected with the virus, doesn't show any symptoms, he can still pass it on to other people. So it's like in hiding while it gets passed on to other people. That's number one. Number two is that the virus is incredibly infectious. It can be spread by air, it can be left on a surface, you can touch that surface, pick it up, and bang, you got the virus. It has a deadly impact. There are reports now of people getting the virus a second time, literally within days of being cured of it. But this time, because their immune system is weakened, they die. This is an incredibly dangerous position that the world is in right now. The other thing about this virus is that you can't take drugs to get rid of it. You've just got to see through the infection. There's no way to cure it. You've just got to see through the infection. That's the bottom line, if you survive. Now, that's why I've been advocating to people who watch my channel, whether you're in South Africa or anywhere else in the world, that you set up your home rather like a quarantine station. Make sure that you've got food, toilet paper, all the necessities of life, especially drinking water, to see you through a few months. Because if and when that virus really hits the community around you, it's going to be devastation. You don't want to be having to go to the shopping center to buy food. You need to get tin food, you need to get rice, you need to get stuff that you can just quarantine yourself, put yourself away, and just survive. Because this virus is, it's extraordinary. It is absolutely devastating the world today. And I think, I really believe that come March, April, when we move into autumn in the southern hemisphere, because remember, the virus, like the flu virus, likes a particular time of the year. It's extraordinary. I know it's dead. I know it's got, but that is what stimulates it when you actually hit that particular time of the year. And the coronavirus is a member of the flu virus. So if you take that on board and understand that hey, it might be in South Africa, but it's probably the infection at this stage has been kept very low and people don't realize it's there. I believe it's in South Africa right now. But when you get to March, April, going on to winter, that's when the virus is going to go absolutely rampant, just like the flu virus. But this is far more deadly, guys. This is far more deadly. And as Kevin spells out here, just understand that a high percentage of what you buy in South Africa or anywhere else in the world is made in China. You can just turn around the product, look at the back, and you'll see made in China. Now, this virus has kind of stopped China in its tracks. Its production is just stopped. Martial law is now the name of the game in China. And it's spreading across to other countries. It's rampant. Now, that's why I say prep, guys, prep. Because if you're dependent on a particular type of medicine, get 3 months worth of that medicine. Just put it away, stockpile it, because when that virus hits and when China stops sending those medicines to your country, you're going to be in a huge hole. Think of the implications, guys. This is huge. It really is huge. Very, very disturbing. And the Republic of South Africa has been recognized as one of the 3 most vulnerable countries in the world to the coronavirus. And when you consider what's going on in the townships, how everybody's living cheek to jowl, and you've got 5 or 6 families living in very close proximity, you can understand what I'm talking about, especially when you consider the appalling state of the public health system. And really, when you think about it, guys, you talk about secession in South Africa. When the coronavirus hits, the minority groups should just form a lager, because the ANC government won't know what they're doing, and they should just enforce a position where they can actually keep this virus out of that community. That's what needs to be happening, and that's what the leaders in South Africa need to be looking at right now, is how can they keep that virus out of their community. You've got this little window in time, guys. You know your community. You got to think up the answers. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video. Please share this video. And above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.